Tear it down, Kofi screamed, wrapping his arm around his mistress while his wife stood alone, humiliated before the crowd. His mother watched with satisfaction. His brother grinned. Then the construction foreman walked over holding a document, his face pale. "Sir, whose house is this?" Everything Kofi believed was a lie. Now let me take you back to that Saturday morning in Atlanta, Georgia. Beautiful spring day, sun shining, birds singing, the kind of morning that should have been peaceful. But peace? Peace was the last thing on anybody's mind that day. There's a demolition crew parked outside this gorgeous suburban home. Big trucks, heavy equipment, the kind of machinery that says somebody's about to tear something down to the foundation. And the neighbors, man, they're out on their lawns with their phones out, recording everything, because drama in the suburbs spreads faster than gossip at a family reunion. Standing in the driveway is Kofi, 38 years old, wearing designer everything, looking like he just stepped out of a magazine. And wrapped around him like a python is Ayana, 26, curves for days, dripping in jewelry that cost more than most people's cars. She's got her hand on his chest, laughing, kissing his cheek, acting like she just won the lottery. And maybe she thought she did. But over by the mailbox, standing alone like a tree in the middle of a storm, is Nia, 36 years old. Simple jeans, plain white shirt, hair pulled back, face completely blank, not crying, not screaming, just standing there, holding a small leather-bound journal against her chest like it's the only thing keeping her together, and standing right next to Kofi, clapping like they're at a celebration. His mama, Lorraine, 62 years old, wearing a church hat on a Saturday like she's about to testify, and his younger brother Terrence, 34, got his phone up recording the whole thing, grinning like this is the funniest thing he's ever seen. Kofi's voice is loud enough for the whole neighborhood to hear. "I said tear it all down, every brick. My wife doesn't deserve this house anymore. This land belongs to my real woman now." Ayana squeals and claps her hands like a child on Christmas morning. Then she looks over at Nia and waves. Actually, waves. "Thanks for keeping it warm for me, honey." The disrespect, the audacity, the sheer ugliness of it all. Lorraine jumps in, loud and proud. "That's right, son. She never appreciated what you built. Give it to someone who deserves you." And Terrence? He's panning his phone camera from Kofi to Ayana to Nia, narrating like he's hosting a reality show. "Y'all seeing this? My brother upgrading, out with the old, in with the gold." He posts it straight to social media. No hesitation, no shame. The neighbors are whispering, pointing. Some of them look uncomfortable, like they know this is wrong but don't want to get involved. Others are eating it up like it's entertainment. And Nia, she hasn't moved, hasn't said a word, just standing there clutching that journal, eyes empty like the lights are on, but nobody's home. The head foreman, a man named Dennis, mid-50s, salt and pepper beard, been in construction for 30 years, walks toward the house with his crew. He's got the property deed in his hand, pulled it from the county records to make sure all the permits are in order. Standard procedure. You don't demolish a house without verifying ownership first. Liability issues, legal issues, the kind of issues that can shut down a whole company. Dennis is reading the document as he walks. Then he stops. His face changes. He reads it again, then a third time. His hand starts shaking just a little bit. He turns around and walks slowly back toward Kofi. His crew notices. They stop unloading equipment. Something's wrong. "Sir," Dennis says, his voice careful, professional. "I need to ask you something. Whose house is this?" Kofi laughs. Actually, laughs, like it's the dumbest question he's ever heard. "What kind of stupid question is that? It's my house. I bought it. I paid for it. I've been living in it for 10 years. Dennis holds up the deed. His hand is definitely shaking now. "Sir, that's not what this says." The laughter dies in Kofi's throat. Ayana's smile fades like someone just turned off a light switch. Lorraine steps forward, her church hat tilting to the side. "What are you talking about?" And for the first time all morning, Nia lifts her head. She looks at Kofi, not with anger, not with sadness, with something worse, something that makes your stomach drop. She looks at him with knowing, like she's been waiting for this moment, like she knew it was coming all along. Dennis clears his throat. "According to county records, this property has never been in your name, sir. It's been part of a family trust since 1947, the Thornton Family Estate Trust." The crowd goes silent. Even the birds seem to stop singing. Kofi's face drains of color. "That's impossible. I have mortgage papers. I have documents." Dennis shakes his head slowly. "You've been paying rent, sir, to the trust, for 10 years, $1,500 a month." And then Nia moves. For the first time all morning, she walks, slow, steady, from the mailbox toward the group. Every eye is on her. The neighbors lean in. Terrence's phone is still recording, but he's not narrating anymore. He's frozen. Nia's voice, when she finally speaks, is soft, almost gentle, but it cuts through the silence like a blade. "You're right, Kofi. You have been paying every single month $1,500, and every payment went into the trust account managed by my family's law firm in Charleston." Kofi's mouth opens, but no sound comes out. Nia pulls a folder out from inside her journal, clean, organized, like she's been carrying it for this exact moment. "My grandfather Moses didn't just own a repair shop. His father, my great-grandfather Samuel Thornton, owned 847 acres of land in South Carolina. Bought it in 1947, back when black folks were barely allowed to own property at all." Lorraine's face twists in confusion. Terrence has lowered his phone. Ayana is looking at Kofi like she's seeing him for the first time. "Over 70 years, Nia continues, her voice still soft, still steady. That land became shopping centers, housing developments, farmland leases. The Thornton Trust has been collecting revenue this entire time, quietly, carefully, the way my family always did things." The crowd is so silent you can hear the wind rustling through the trees. 3 years ago, when Moses passed away, I became the sole trustee, and last month the trust liquidated a commercial property portfolio in Charleston. She pulls out a bank statement, walks right up to Dennis, and hands it to him. "Would you mind reading that out loud?" Dennis takes the paper with trembling hands. He looks at it. His eyes go wide. He looks at Nia like he's seeing a ghost. Then he clears his throat and reads, "Account balance $800 million. Somebody in the crowd screams. Ayana's scream, high-pitched, desperate. "What?" Terrence drops his phone. It hits the concrete driveway with a crack. Kofi stumbles backward like he's been punched. And Nia, she doesn't raise her voice, doesn't gloat, just keeps talking in that same soft, devastating tone. "This house? I let you think you owned it, Kofi. For 10 years, I let you believe it was yours. Because my grandfather Moses taught me something. He said, 'Baby girl, let people show you who they really are before you show them who you really are.'" She turns to look at Ayana, and there's no anger in her eyes. Just pity. "You're welcome to him. You can have him. But the house? The car you've been driving? The credit card you've been using to buy those bags and those shoes? All of it was trust property, and as of 9 o'clock this morning, all of it's been revoked. The car's been repoed from the mall parking lot where you left it an hour ago. The credit card's been declined, and that apartment Kofi's been paying rent on for you, the lease is in the trust's name, too. You've got 72 hours to vacate." Ayana's face goes from bronze to gray. She looks at Kofi like he's suddenly covered in garbage. "You told me you owned all of this. You lied to me." Kofi's hands are shaking. His voice cracks when he tries to speak. "Nia, Baby, wait. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. We can fix this. We can... Fix what? Nia's voice is still soft, but now there's steel underneath it. Fix the part where you humiliated me in front of the whole neighborhood. Fix the part where you ordered a crew to tear down my house to build something for your mistress? Or fix the part where your family treated me like trash in my own home for 10 years? She turns to Dennis. There will be no demolition today. Please send the bill for your crew's time to my lawyer. They'll handle it. She hands him a business card. Dennis nods, looking relieved. Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Then Nia looks at Lorraine. The older woman's mouth is opening and closing like a fish out of water. Nia, sweetheart, I never meant... You called me boring, Nia says simply. You said I was holding your son back. You invited other women to family dinners to meet him while I was sitting right there. You treated me like I was lucky to be part of this family, in my house. Lorraine's church hat is trembling. I didn't... Nia turns to Terrence. You filmed this, posted it online, made me a joke for 43,000 people to laugh at. Terrence's voice is small, desperate. I'll delete it right now, I swear. Don't bother, Nia says. My legal team already has screenshots. You'll be hearing from them within the week. And then she walks back to her car. A simple Honda Accord, paid off. Nothing flashy. The crowd parts like she's royalty. Nobody says a word. Nobody even breathes. She gets in, starts the engine, and before she drives away, she rolls down the window one last time, looks at Kofi, really looks at him, and when she speaks, her voice carries across the whole driveway. Moses used to say, baby girl, never let them see what you're holding until it's time to play your hand. Today, I played mine. Then she drives away, smooth, calm, not speeding, not peeling out, just leaving. And Kofi drops to his knees right there in the driveway, literally falls to his knees like his legs just gave out. Ayana is already walking away, phone pressed to her ear, calling somebody else, anybody else. The neighbors are standing there in shock. Some of them are already pulling out their phones to call their friends. This story is going to spread through Atlanta like wildfire. And Dennis and his crew? They're packing up their equipment, shaking their heads, probably already planning how they're going to tell this story for the rest of their lives. Now, to understand what really happened that morning, we gotta go back, way back, to a small town in South Carolina where Nia grew up, and to the man who raised her with one simple lesson. Patience is power. 25 years earlier, Nia was 11 years old, living with her grandfather Moses in a tiny house next to his repair shop. Her parents had died in a car accident when she was 7. Drunk driver, wrong place, wrong time. The kind of tragedy that breaks some people. But Moses didn't break. He just held her tighter and taught her how to stand. Moses was in his 70s back then, quiet man, dignified, the kind of man who spoke softly, but when he spoke, everybody listened. He owned a small repair shop, fixed everything from lawnmowers to tractors. Folks in town respected him, trusted him, would bring him their broken things and know he'd make them right. But what most folks didn't know was that Moses came from money, real money, old money, the kind that doesn't show off because it doesn't need to. His father, Samuel Thornton, Nia's great-grandfather, had been one of the first black men in South Carolina to buy land after the war. Not the Civil War, the Second World War, 1947, when the country was still segregated and black folks owning property was seen as a threat by some and a miracle by others. Samuel was smart, strategic. He bought land that nobody else wanted because it was too far from town, too swampy, too difficult to farm. But he knew something they didn't. He knew the highways were coming. He knew development was coming. He knew that patience and planning beat quick money every single time. And he was right. By the time Samuel died in 1983, that worthless land had become shopping centers, housing developments, commercial properties. The Thornton Trust was worth millions, and it was all kept quiet, low-key, the way Samuel wanted it. Moses inherited the trust, never touched the principal, lived simply, worked in his repair shop because he liked working with his hands. And when his granddaughter came to live with him, he taught her the same values his father had taught him. On Nia's 12th birthday, Moses gave her a leather-bound journal. Old, worn, beautiful. "This was your grandmother's," he told her, sitting on the porch while the sun set behind the trees. She wrote down every promise people made to her, every truth she discovered. "One day, you'll need to write your own truths in here." Little Nia held that journal like it was made of gold. "Why, Papa Moses?" "Because, baby girl, people will always show you who they are. Your job isn't to fix them, it's to believe them and act accordingly." Moses raised her with old-school values: dignity over drama, observation over reaction, silence over screaming. He taught her chess, taught her patience, taught her that real power doesn't need to announce itself. "The loud ones," he'd say, moving a chess piece with careful precision, "they're usually the weak ones. The quiet ones, that's where the real strength is." Nia grew up soft-spoken, kind, generous. Teachers loved her. Friends trusted her. She was brilliant in school, earned a full scholarship to Spelman College in Atlanta, studied business and graphic design. Moses was so proud he cried at her graduation, didn't even try to hide it. That's where she met Kofi, community church event. She was 24, he was 26. He was charming back then, ambitious, working in tech sales, climbing the corporate ladder fast. He came from a loud family, flashy, the complete opposite of Nia's quiet upbringing. And maybe that's what attracted her. The energy, the confidence, the way he filled a room. Kofi loved that Nia was low maintenance. That's what he called it, low maintenance. Didn't ask for much, didn't demand attention, didn't cause drama. "You're so easy to deal with," he'd say, like it was a compliment. And Nia, she'd just smile, because she wasn't easy. She was strategic, but he didn't know the difference. They dated for 2 years. He proposed at a family barbecue, big and loud, with everybody watching. Nia said yes because she believed in him, believed in the man he could become, believed that love and patience could build something real. They got married. Small ceremony because that's what Nia wanted. Kofi was making good money by then, moving up in his company. 3 years into the marriage, he told Nia he wanted to buy a house, something nice, something in a good neighborhood, a real investment. Nia listened to him talk about mortgages and down payments and interest rates, and then she made a phone call to the family lawyer in Charleston. A week later, Kofi signed a lease-to-own agreement on a beautiful house in suburban Atlanta. He thought he was buying it. The paperwork was worded carefully, legally sound but deliberately vague. And Nia? She never corrected him. She just smiled and helped him move in. For 10 years, Kofi paid $1,500 a month, thinking it was a mortgage. It went straight into the trust account. And the house? The house had always belonged to the Thornton Trust, had been purchased through the trust in 1998 as an investment property. Nia had just been waiting for the right time to live in it, but then Moses died. 3 years into Nia's marriage. Heart attack, sudden, devastating. Nia was heartbroken. Moses had been her rock, her foundation, her everything. At the funeral, a lawyer she'd never met approached her with a sealed envelope. "Your grandfather instructed me to give you this when the time was right." Nia opened it in private, sitting in Moses's old repair shop, surrounded by tools and memories. The letter was in Moses's handwriting, shaky but clear. "Baby girl, if you're reading this, I'm gone. And I need you to know something. The trust is yours now, all of it. 847 acres, 32 commercial properties, investment portfolios. Everything your great-grandfather built, everything I protected, it's yours. But more than that, I'm giving you permission. Permission to be strategic, permission to watch, permission to wait until people show you exactly who they are. And when they do, baby girl, when they show you their truth, you act accordingly. I love you, I'm proud of you, and I'm always with you, Papa Moses. Nia folded that letter, put it in the journal, and started writing, started documenting. Every late night, Kofi came home smelling like perfume. Every credit card receipt she found in his pockets. Every time Lorraine made a snide comment about her cooking or her clothes. Every family dinner where Terence made jokes at her expense. She wrote it all down. Not out of anger, out of strategy. Because Moses had taught her, when you know the truth, you don't react. You prepare. 6 months before that demolition day, Nia first saw the name Ayanna in Kofi's phone. Text messages, lots of them. Late-night calls. Kofi taking his phone into the bathroom, into the garage, anywhere Nia wasn't. She didn't confront him, didn't scream or cry or throw things. She just watched, waited, wrote in her journal. Ayanna worked as a bartender at an upscale lounge downtown. 26 years old, pretty, loud, materialistic, everything Nia wasn't. And Kofi, he was obsessed. Started working late 3 nights a week. Started buying Ayanna gifts, designer bags, jewelry, paying her rent. Nia found the receipts, saw the bank statements. Kofi wasn't even trying to hide it anymore. And his family, they made it worse. Lorraine had always treated Nia like help, like staff, criticizing everything. My son deserves a woman who can give him babies. You've been married 10 years. Where are my grandchildren? You're holding him back. Never mind that Nia and Kofi had agreed to wait. Never mind that Kofi was the one who said he wasn't ready. In Lorraine's mind, it was all Nia's fault. Terence was no better, constantly making jokes. Man, if I had a wife that boring, I'd upgrade too. Said it right to Nia's face at a family dinner. Everybody laughed. Even Kofi smirked. And Nia? She sat there, quiet, calm, eating her food, writing it all down in her mind so she could put it in her journal later. Then the family dinners got worse. Lorraine started inviting other women. Friends of the family, she'd say, young, pretty, loud. She'd seat them next to Kofi, make conversation. Oh, Kofi, you remember Shanice from church? She just got promoted at her job. Isn't that wonderful? And Kofi would smile, chat, flirt, right in front of Nia. The disrespect was suffocating, but Nia didn't fight, didn't scream. She just watched, documented, and waited. Then Kofi stopped wearing his wedding ring. Just took it off one day. When Nia asked about it, he shrugged. It was bothering me. He moved into the guest bedroom, stopped coming to bed, stopped pretending. And then one night, after a family dinner where Lorraine had outdone herself with the disrespect, Kofi came home and told Nia the truth. Or what he thought was the truth. I want a divorce, he said. Simple as that. No emotion, no apology. And I want you out of my house. You've got 30 days. Nia looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in 10 years, she saw him clearly, saw him for exactly who he was, not who she hoped he'd become, not who she believed he could be, but who he actually was. Okay, she said softly. Kofi looked surprised, like he expected a fight. Okay, that's it? That's it. He left the room. Nia went to her bedroom, closed the door, and broke down, cried into her pillow, not because she was losing him, but because she'd wasted 10 years believing in someone who never believed in her. But then she heard Moses's voice in her head, clear as day. Baby girl, when they think you're broken, that's when you're most powerful. She wiped her tears, opened the sealed envelope from the lawyer again, reread Moses's letter, and then she made a phone call to the family law firm in Charleston. Her voice was steady, calm. It's time. 2 weeks later, Kofi announced his plan. He was giving the house to Ayanna, not selling it, not splitting it, giving it to her. And to make it special, he was going to demolish it and rebuild something worthy of a real woman. He hired the demolition crew, set a date, invited his family, posted about it on social media, made it a whole event. Lorraine was ecstatic. Finally, my son is making the right choice. Terrence was already planning his Instagram captions. This is going to go viral. And Ayanna, she was picking out furniture for the new house, designing the kitchen, planning the landscaping, acting like it was already hers. The night before demolition day, Nia slept better than she had in months. She packed a small bag, her clothes, her journal, a few photos of Moses. That was it. Everything else could stay. She placed the journal on the nightstand, opened to a page that read, "The truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to show up." And the next morning, she showed up. Now karma doesn't play fair, and when you've been as dirty as Kofi and his family, karma brings receipts. 3 months after demolition day, Kofi's life had completely fallen apart. And I mean completely. First, he lost his job. HR at his company found out he'd been using company credit cards to buy gifts for Ayanna. Thousands of dollars, jewelry, bags, dinners, all on the company dime. They fired him immediately. No severance, no recommendation. Just a security escort out of the building with his belongings in a cardboard box. Then his car got repossessed. Turns out the lease was in the trust's name. Nia had co-signed as the trustee when they first got it. Once the divorce was filed, she revoked authorization. Repo Man showed up at 2 in the morning and towed it right out of Lorraine's driveway where Kofi had been staying. His bank accounts got frozen pending divorce proceedings. What little money he had was tied up in legal fees trying to fight for something, anything from the trust. His lawyer took one look at the case and laughed him out of the office. "The trust was established in 1947, Mr. Williams. You have zero legal claim to any of it. Your wife was the trustee before you even met. You want my advice? Sign the papers and move on." So Kofi moved back in with his mama, sleeping in his childhood bedroom, 38 years old, broke, embarrassed, destroyed. And that social media post Terrence made? It went viral, but not the way they wanted. The comments were brutal. Bro really demolished his marriage for a woman who left him broke. Imagine fumbling a billionaire because you couldn't keep it in your pants. This man ordered a wrecking ball for his own life. She played chess while he was playing checkers. Kofi couldn't go anywhere without being recognized. People in the grocery store would point and whisper. His boys stopped calling. His network dried up. Nobody wanted to be associated with the guy who embarrassed himself on that level. And Ayanna? Oh, Ayanna was gone like smoke in the wind. She blocked his number before the demolition crew even finished packing up. By that evening, she was already at dinner with somebody else, a professional athlete she'd met at the lounge. Kofi tried showing up at her apartment, sat outside in his mama's car, calling and calling. She finally came to the door, but she didn't open it, just yelled through it. "You told me you owned that house. You told me you were rich. You lied to me." Her voice was shrill, angry. "I don't date broke men. Lose my number." Kofi sat in that car for 2 hours, crying, like actually crying. Security had to come, tell him to leave. Lorraine tried reaching out to Nia, called, texted, even showed up at the law firm's office in Charleston. She got escorted out by security. Nia had her blocked everywhere, every number, every platform, every possible point of contact. Lorraine's church friends found out what happened, the whole story, how she'd treated Nia for 10 years, how she'd encouraged Kofi to leave her, how she'd clapped and cheered while he humiliated his wife in public. One of the church elders pulled her aside after service. "Sister Lorraine, you disrespected that young woman for years, and she was the one blessing your son's life. Shame on you, real shame." Lorraine's reputation in the community crumbled overnight. Women who used to call her for advice stopped calling. Invitations to events dried up. Even her prayer group started meeting without her. And Terrence got hit the hardest in some ways. Nia's legal team filed a lawsuit against him for defamation, harassment, and invasion of privacy. That video he posted had gotten millions of views by then, and every single one was evidence. His employer, a corporate bank, saw the video, saw his involvement, called him into HR. "Mr. Williams, your behavior online does not align with our company values. We're terminating your employment effective immediately." The lawsuit settlement cost him $75,000, money he didn't have. He had to take out loans, sell his car, move back in with Lorraine too. And his girlfriend? She left him the day she found out he was broke, didn't even pack her stuff, just texted him that she was done and blocked him. So now Lorraine's house had both her sons living there, both broke, both embarrassed, both blaming each other. The divorce was finalized in a strip mall lawyer's office. Kofi's attorney was the cheapest he could find. Nia didn't even show up. Her legal team handled everything. Kofi signed the papers with shaking hands, got nothing, and walked out into the parking lot feeling like his life was over, because in a lot of ways, it was. 6 months after Demolition Day, Nia was living in Charleston, South Carolina. She'd bought a quiet estate near the water. Beautiful, peaceful, the kind of place where you can sit on the porch and hear nothing but waves and birds. She'd renovated Moses's old repair shop, turned it into a community center, the Moses Thornton Foundation. It offered free financial literacy classes for young people, legal aid clinics, mentorship programs for young Black women trying to start businesses or go to college. The grand opening was packed. Hundreds of people showed up. Local news covered it. The mayor gave a speech. But Nia stayed in the background, letting the program directors take the spotlight. Because that's who she was. Quiet power, strategic impact. She spent her days working with her mentees, teaching them what Moses taught her. Patience, observation, strategy. She'd tell them stories about her grandfather, about how he built something from nothing and kept it quiet because real wealth doesn't need to be loud. One evening, Nia was sitting on her back porch overlooking the water. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. The journal was in her lap, the same one Moses had given her when she was 12. She opened it to a blank page and started writing. "Moses, you taught me patience. You taught me dignity. You taught me that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. You said people will always show you who they are and that my job was to believe them and act accordingly. I believed them, I acted, and I won, not because I was louder or meaner or more ruthless, but because I was smarter, because I waited, because I let the truth do what the truth does best. I hope I made you proud. I hope I honored what you built. I hope you're resting easy knowing your baby girl is okay, more than okay. I'm free." She closed the journal and placed it on a shelf next to a photo of Moses. In the picture, he was smiling, sitting in his repair shop, looking exactly the way she remembered him. Strong, dignified, quiet. A young woman, one of Nia's mentees from the foundation, came out onto the porch carrying 2 cups of tea. "Miss Nia, the new financial literacy class starts in an hour. You ready?" Nia smiled, a real smile, genuine, peaceful, always. They sat there for a moment sipping tea, watching the water. And Nia thought about how different her life looked now compared to 6 months ago. How light she felt. How free. Kofi tried to reach out once, sent a message through a mutual friend. "Tell Nia I'm sorry. Tell her I didn't know. Tell her I was wrong." Nia sent back one message, short, simple, final. "I wish you well," from a distance. She never heard from him again. Last anyone heard, Kofi was working retail, living in a 1-bedroom apartment, paying child support for Ayana's baby because yes, she got pregnant by the athlete who left her. And now Kofi's DNA test came back negative, but she's still coming after him for support because he promised to take care of her. The legal battle is ongoing. Ayana's engaged now to some other guy she met online. But rumor has it he's already cheating. Karma's funny like that. It doesn't always hit all at once. Sometimes it takes its time, circles back around, makes sure the lesson really sinks in. Lorraine and Terrence barely speak to Kofi anymore. They blame him for dragging the family name through the mud, for the lawsuits, for the embarrassment. Family dinners don't happen anymore. Holidays are quiet and tense. And Nia? She's never been happier. She travels when she wants, invests wisely, grows the foundation, mentors young women, lives quietly, peacefully, powerfully. She doesn't check social media, doesn't Google Kofi's name, doesn't care what he's doing or where he ended up. That chapter is closed, finished, done. Because see, sometimes people will mistake your kindness for weakness. They'll think silence means you're defeated. They'll assume that because you're not fighting back, you're not fighting at all. But the truth is, real power doesn't need to announce itself. Real power doesn't need to scream or threaten or make a scene. Real power just waits, watches, plans, and when the moment is right, when all the pieces are in place, real power just shows up. And when it does, when that truth finally reveals itself, it doesn't just destroy lies. It obliterates them, turns them to dust, makes them disappear like they never existed in the first place. Nia didn't scream, didn't fight, didn't beg. She just waited for the truth to do what the truth does best, expose everything built on top of it. And when it did, when that foreman held up that deed and asked that simple question, when Kofi's world came crashing down in front of everybody he'd invited to watch him win, Nia was already free. Because she'd been free all along. She just hadn't shown them yet. Moses was right. He was always right. Baby girl, never let them see what you're holding until it's time to play your hand. Nia played hers, and she won. And remember, karma doesn't lose an address. It just takes time to get there. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.